Hello everyone. My husband 35M and I 30F married for 8 years have been separated for the last 14 months, and I need help and advice on how to rekindle our relationship. We are currently not on speaking terms, and all our arrangements go through our lawyers, but I will have an opportunity over Christmas to clear the air and set things straight, as he will be flying in from Sydney to spend time with the kids. So what happened? I received a Facebook message in September last year that my husband was talking and exchanging naked photos with other women on Tinder. We spoke on the phone for a bit, and the only proof she had was a screenshot of their conversations and his profile. Long story short, I downloaded Tinder and found his profile, with his location less than 1 km away. I was convinced that he was cheating, and we had a terrible fallout that evening, which led to my family coming over to calm the situation. But instead, it escalated when my brother punched and grabbed hold of my husband. The neighbors called the police, and my husband was asked to pack a few things and stay elsewhere for a while. We separated shortly after, and he has since moved to Sydney to be closer to his ailing father, but sees our kids for a weekend twice a month. Fast forward to the beginning of November this year, and my neighbor rocked up at my doorstep to tell me that her husband was catfishing women on dating apps using my husband's photos. He downloaded these photos from a MacBook that we lent him during COVID, and some of these photos were of an intimate nature and of me. The police are currently dealing with this. All of this has been relayed to my husband through his lawyer, but his response has been lukewarm, and he said we could talk about it over Christmas. I am so scared that we might be down too far in the rabbit hole, and that he will likely push for a divorce, even though I know that we love each other deeply. But this took a massive toll on our mental health, finances, and the well-being of our 3 kids. What is the best way to approach him in December and make amends? TLDR. A neighbor used his husband's photos to catfish women on Tinder for naked photos. My husband and I separated because I thought he was cheating. The neighbor's wife told me what her husband did. Police are investigating. Some comments. Your husband experienced something that you will never understand. A false accusation. An assault from your brother. Spousal alienation. There is no right of recourse against the false accusation. A complete lack of loyalty from his wife. A complete lack of respect from his wife. The loss of the life he had from a false allegation. Parental alienation from his children. Familial alienation from his in-laws. Alienation from friends. The police were called, and he had to leave. You separated from him. Your husband has already completed his grieving process. You ask, are you too far down the rabbit hole? Yes, I am afraid there is no going back for you. You chose not to listen to him when he said it was not him. I agree. I don't think there's coming back from that. I understand you had reasons to believe he might be cheating, but it seems he had no chance to defend himself, and getting your family involved made everything even worse. He was punched and told to leave his house by the police, has been living away from his kids for the past 14 months, and has been treated as a villain by friends. You say you love him, but I don't think love could erase everything you two have been through and rebuild trust. Oh, and here's another thought. Perhaps reach out to any and all of his old friends, make sure they all know the truth. OP, try to salvage what you can for him. But I think the way things happened would have been very damaging. To be clear, I'm not blaming you for wanting to leave when you had clear proof from your perspective at the time that he had cheated. It's a reasonable reaction, but the way it took place seems so insanely violent and dramatic. You two got screwed over, not just by your neighbor, but also by your brother. Punching someone is never acceptable. It would have been a sucky and inappropriate reaction, even if your husband had in fact cheated. Now imagine how your husband must have felt, considering it was entirely unwarranted. Being married means being part of a shared family. The fact that your family got in the middle of it and bodily hurt him would make anyone think twice about getting back in. If you really work hard on mending those bridges, if you ensure everyone takes stock and is accountable for their mistakes, and that includes your brother, then you might rebuild your relationship. But it will most probably take time. Damn, you two really got effed over by your SHTTY neighbor. I feel bad for both of you and your kids. I get why you believed he was cheating, and I get why he might not want to rekindle the relationship. What an all-around crappy situation. This sub. Cheaters are the worst. Leave someone who cheats on you. Don't give them a second chance. Don't let them lie to and manipulate you. Also, this sub. OP is the devil because she couldn't divine that this clear-cut case of cheating was instead a highly unlikely series of events that resulted in her husband's private photos on an active Tinder account in her direct vicinity and proof of that account engaging with women. Like what the SHD, my dudes. Both OP and her husband got effed over hard by this pos neighbor, who is now dealing with the police. It's very uncool that SHD got physical, But otherwise, OP did what one would expect of her. They're both victims. If OP came on here and laid out the evidence before the truth came to light, none of the users cheating on her now would have been like, talk to him. Maybe your neighbor borrowed your computer, stole his photos, and is elaborately catfishing people from 10 feet away. Hey, tough one. Here's a thought though. Perhaps focus your efforts and intention not on getting back together, but 100% on uneffing this whole thing up for him. Imagine all the things that he lost, all the people whose opinions of him changed, everyone you ever spoke to and told about his infidelity, and everyone they spoke to. Every single little embarrassment, every indignity that happened to him, what your family said and did that would have hurt, every colleague, every other parent from school, then bank manager, real estate people, every single person that got the wrong idea, and correct them. Own your mistake, position it as your failure to believe him, and rebuild his reputation. Then set about correcting the tangible harm done, the financial losses, the physical harm, and the struggle you put him through. Consider each and everything that must have been sucked for him. And then, of course, the biggest thing, the kids. You were swindled, without doubt. But despite your innocence in terms of intent, your actions still caused great harm and were negligent. Think manslaughter, not murder. Either way, you pay for the harm committed, whether the intent was there or not. Focus all of your attention on making him as close to whole as possible. If you do this, there will be one of two outcomes. He still does not forgive you, and if this is the case, then you will have helped fix the life and reputation of an innocent man, and you can look yourself and your children in the face and honestly say that although you made a terrible mistake, you did everything you could to make it right. Or, he will see the sincerity which you better have, because he will know if you are trying to seduce him into rekindling the relationship, and he will begin the process of forgiving you for your part in what happened to him. All I can say is that you had better demonstrate an absolute 100% siding with him as it relates to your family publicly and otherwise, and you will have to be patient. He will get triggered by something this traumatic from time to time, irrespective of your efforts and his forgiveness. If you truly want to get square with him, then you may find yourself apologizing for many years to come. You may find yourself having to wear unprovoked fits of rage, unprovoked fits of depression, and separation from your family at yearly milestones. Your commitment to him, and to the cause of making him whole again, will be what determines if any civil relationship, let alone a romantic one, is possible. Oh, and one final thing. You had better be upfront with him about any relationships or nights with other men. He will want to know, and if you deceive him at all when asked, then you are completely effed. If you are to salvage this, then sincerity and honesty are the only ways to truly achieve it. Chin up there. It is possible. I had some friends who separated for almost 2 years. Neither were with anyone else, but they have managed to find their way back together, and some 3 years later, they welcomed a second child into their family. So there is hope. I sincerely hope to hear a positive update in 6 months. You and your family are back together again and making great progress on his PTSD. And yes, your romance is blossoming. Wow, what a mess. I'm glad the police were involved in what that neighbor did. As for you and your husband, a lot is going to depend on 2 things. How much do you both really love each other? How difficult it is for you both to have a truly serious, heart-wrenching, emotionally exhausting conversation. His logical side will likely understand why you thought it was true. After all, there were pictures. It would be easy to believe it was true. But his emotional side is going to be deeply hurt that you didn't believe him over the evidence. All you can do is sit down and try to work through it. Good luck to you. OP replies. Thank you. I thought having a therapist present might help, but I have doubts and think it is better not to involve others. The aftermath was devastating for us both, and more so for him when his friends and my family wrote him off. I still love him and have never stopped, but I know it will be on his terms if he is willing to give it another chance. I am willing to do whatever it takes. What have you done to make amends and clear his name? Have you notified his friends and family that he was falsely accused and had been faithful the entire time? Has your family apologized? Have his friends reached out and apologized? Take a look at the definitions of regret, that this happened, and remorse for the pain you caused him. I don't hear or feel remorse in your words, and I don't see remorse in your actions. Update. Hello everyone. I have had quite a few people ask for an update on what happened after we discovered that my neighbor was using my ex's photos to catfish other women. Unfortunately, after having sat down and discussed things, it was decided that our marriage was beyond repair and that we should go our separate ways. He is currently in therapy and has requested that we have a clean break with no further contact in the future. I intend to respect his wishes and will continue to communicate through his lawyer on matters that concern our kids. I have since cleared the air with our families and friends, and am still actively working towards repairing his reputation. I would also like to clarify the assault and why my parents came over in the first place. The night of the argument, I called my mother to ask if I could drop off our kids and if they could spend the evening there. But she was concerned about my emotional state and asked that I stay put, and they would come to fetch the kids instead. They arrived, and my brother opted to stay outside, while my parents came inside to grab the kids and their bags. At this point, my father asked me to talk to my ex and calm the situation, and my mom dragged me away to get the kids and their bags ready. My brother was very confused when we came outside and was triggered by my mom saying that my ex might have cheated. My brother reacted the moment my ex walked out and grabbed my arm in a non-violent way, leading to the punch and scuffle on the front lawn. He was remorseful and apologized even before we found out my ex was not to blame. It is a series of unfortunate events that have changed many lives and robbed my family of our love and happiness. Now I have to focus on my kids, my depression, and coming to terms with the divorce. I will never forget, but hopefully the pain won't be as intense. Some comments. Well, things went way too far, and I can very much understand why your husband left. I would seriously consider cutting your brother out of your life for a while, and also really considering your reaction to this, and how it all went terribly wrong. That poor guy. He loses his marriage, his kids get assaulted, and his whole life turns upside down. My heart hurts for him. I can't imagine the grief and angst he's gone through. I remember the original post to this, and I predicted that your ex-husband wouldn't rekindle this. Too much damage has been done. You call it a scuffle on the front lawn. I mean, he was assaulted by your brother. I am praying for your ex, and I hope you can heal from this.